Good evening and welcome to another episode of Clearly Ambiguous. I hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for the engagement on previous videos. Every comment is appreciated. One thing that I would like to definitely mention before we go any further is that basically I'm not sharing news here. I'm just commenting and sharing my opinions on what I make of it and what is being circulated in the media. And I try to do it as conservatively as possible because people are very hypersensitive with their reactions these days and they get very inflamed, right? So I avoid usually any direct references to anyone. Having said that, what are we talking about today? Well, we are going to talk about the arrests that were made recently with regards to a few individuals doing espionage activities for people across the border. Now, one prominent YouTuber, actually I won't say prominent YouTuber because we went through the entire thing, and the lady has basically gotten prominence through alleged nefarious activities that she has done. So that got me thinking. If you think about certain things logically, so the first thing that I wanted to understand was what was the agency's angle and why suddenly there has been a shift to employ civilians or common citizens, basically, so to speak. Because if you remember a few years back, there was a bureaucrat, a lady who was caught and prosecuted. And now it's basically social media influencers, so on and so forth, who are being groomed to do such nefarious activities within our country. And why is that so? So a few things that came to mind was, one is, all spies or espionage or agents, and for people who are great fans of the English movie series James Bond, right? They always would appreciate that, there is a certain amount of deniability in which intelligence gathering is done. So expendability of such resources, is there. So if you have a social media influencer or probably, low value target, so to speak, they can be very easily be expendable. Intelligence agency probably would not even want to support them or retrieve them or do whatever if they get caught, right? Because if you end up training resources, intelligence training and training agents and sending them across the border is a lot of cost, right? And especially for some agency, see, I understand, they might be getting the prime of the money that their nation gets, but then again, it's a cash-strapped economy, so obviously they are indulging in social media influencers to gather intelligence for them. One good thing is that they've actually made our intelligence agencies work a little harder and catch hold of these people, which is much appreciated and that should be done. Another thing is, as I mentioned already, these people are cheaper, right? Just it's easier. The money required to groom or train a professional agent, intelligence agent, versus picking up any citizen who might have different, and I'll come to that, what motivations they might have to do something like this. So as I said, expendability is easy. They are cheaper, easier to, you don't have to give them that much money. And lastly, deniability. It's very easy to deny. You say, this is your own citizen. So, you will have to do the digging and triangulating at what messages were being passed, what information was being passed, this, that, and the other. And another argument that can be thrown in is, how much access does any such agent have to highly secure targets or high value targets within any country? Now, see, such agents might not have access to, very high value military targets, so to speak. But then again, what they can essentially do is gather intelligence information on, areas of high interest, which could be political offices, which could be places of worship, right? Places of tourist interest. Now, increasingly, if you see the metadata which is attached to any photograph or video today, that metadata can also include location data. So if you just give somebody a camera and say, why don't you make a video of that particular spot and activate your location services, it's pretty easy, isn't it? So, although they might not be giving away extremely sensitive information, such as the layout of air bases and other defense deployments and all, but they can obviously gather a lot of other information which can be supplied across the border. And as we know, it can be used the way it was used on those cowardly and dastardly acts of terror that happened in the Pahalgam Valley. Another thing is now coming to the other aspect of it, the other side of it. Why would somebody do this? First and foremost, money. Money is a great motivator, right? And it is a motivator for almost all content creators. It's definitely a motivator for me as well, right? But then again, would I compromise my integrity on money? That is another question. Now, in certain individuals who essentially do not probably have that, because a lot of people end up arguing, you don't need to question my nationalism, so on and so forth. But then again, if they can basically just get enough money, they're probably ready to do anything and everything. That is something that probably needs to be checked. And of course, if any profession, and right now I would say that content creation and social media is a profession and a bread earner for a lot of people. And not everybody will make it, right? So there are a lot of people who are looking for very quick growth because they just might want to earn more money because they want to live better lives. At the same point of time, they might already be stuck in certain problems financially where they might not have access to funds legally, right? They might owe to the banks, they might owe to their credit cards, and they borrowed money from their friends and they need money to pay those loans off. And we have to be very careful of what amount of success and vulnerability of our lives we share online. This is how you can be targeted. So somebody can keep quizzing you about the fact that, oh, do you have some problems in life? So as you open up more and more with them, because if you see, the pattern was that there was a long communication that the social media person was actually encouraged to interact, and over a period of those interactions, obviously, vulnerabilities of that person were exposed. Those were probably being used against that person to gather intelligence. So money is one. Another thing could be ideology. And we have spoken about this, why ideology matters. See, of course, it matters. Somebody who's disgruntled with the present government, right? Somebody who probably after, no matter how much you tell them about the success of this country, just might not believe in the fabric of this nation, would have a motivation otherwise. So ideology is another thing. And lastly, it is basically related to the first thing that I mentioned, that is money, is fame. See, somebody who is on there, obviously there is a certain amount of fame that comes with. There are some fantastic YouTubers, vloggers in this country, and those guys are doing an amazing job when they're traveling within our country. And trust me, they're going to some of the most remotest parts of this country. But if you look at it, if they look at their content, they usually, are very mindful of the fact that they do not end up sharing certain information. So, but these people have a lot of following, the subscribers and everything. You see a vlogger who was probably traveling from west to east in this country, and suddenly some remote area in some northeastern state, he has subscribers suddenly. It's a fantastic thing. So fame is another driving factor, along with money and ideology, of course. Now, what has changed over a period of time? See, what has changed over a period of time is it is becoming more and more difficult for agencies to insert intelligence contacts, right? Because the nuances of basically the local language, the accents, a lot of agents get caught because of the way they speak, can be dead giveaways, the way they dress up, their knowledge. You know that famous thing, if you watch that movie, right? Inglorious Bastards, the way he counts, right? There's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2. Yeah, see, it could be as subtle as that. So the reason for that is that, of course, there might be people who are highly skilled, highly trained, who would be inserted everywhere. But then again, it's easier to catch hold of such people. And this is what information warfare is all about, right? It's not going to be those, sci-fi movie sort of intelligence or robotics that's going to come into play. Of course, they are coming into play more and more. But at the same point of time, yes, espionage is still very much in. And in today's world, where your mobile phone, your camera, the connectivity that you probably have, it probably just makes it a little easier for the agencies to gather information, gather intel. Now, having said that, should we now brand all YouTubers and vloggers? No, we should not. Because, come on, when they travel to another country and they are also representing India, right? So there are some of them who are doing a fantastic job. What can we probably do about... please be careful with what you share online, right? That is something that we need to do. Another thing is, and lastly, why influencers, and this is where we have to understand, because I never discourage somebody to only follow certain things, right? See, no matter how cringe a lot of people might think mainstream media in India is, I will still follow them. I will still follow the lefties and the narrative that they would like to build. I will follow those people as well, so that you understand what is happening around you. So you're smart enough to understand, okay, what is being shared, what a narrative is being created, because a lot of narrative busting right now is happening because we were just ignorant to the fact that there was a lot of this social media narrative which was getting produced out there, and we used to probably think it's just happening organically. And in recent times, we actually found out it's an organized thing. So yes, be more aware, right? And be more careful. So that's it from me in this video. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thanks for watching. Until next time, you take care of yourself. Good night.